Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Rule 34 Podcast, Season 3. I am Jack, joined by
Dominic Steele.
Alright, so we are back here today on this lovely Monday. How are the two of you doing?
I'm doing pretty hog championship right now for the time being. Everything's pretty slow at the moment. However, things are probably gonna start to amp up a bit as soon as the new NBA season starts, as well as the NHA or the NHL, my bad. And so, work is gonna get intense. The monies, I hope, does get higher. It probably will because of, I guess, the VIP suites that we're gonna be having. So that's pretty nice for the time being. Nothing much else has been pretty much going on. It's been slow, but things have been going fine, thankfully.
That's good to hear.
That's good to hear.
How about you, Joe?
I had a pretty eventful weekend. Well, to keep it short, my dad kind of passed out, and we had to call an ambulance, and they took him to the hospital. And he's been at the hospital for the last 2 days. They've been doing a lot of studies on his heart and stuff, but everything is coming back very, very positive. So there's nothing to worry about, I guess. But besides that, it's been pretty much just Overwatch.
That's good to hear. Hoping all is well with your father at the end of the day, and obviously we'll be sending our prayers for him. For me, kind of similar to what Gio was saying at the end. I've just been playing Overwatch, getting ready to review it here for today. Trying to think, what else was I doing? Not much, but I was watching a lot of sports this weekend. You know, I gotta cover. I need to message Mr. Solis. That's my reminder to message him to ask when are we gonna record for WWE pay-per-view. I gotta record an episode right after this one talking about my Phillies advancing to the next round of the MLB playoffs. I gotta type up my script for tomorrow's episode talking about the Eagles win yesterday. Very busy day today. As usual, Mondays are my busiest, but in the end, still a good week since the last time we recorded. And I guess transitioning right away into our main topic. Because, it's all we've been talking about, like, almost on every episode, in the lead up to it and during it. Overwatch 2 has finally dropped the long-awaited sequel to Overwatch. And we got to play it for an entire week, and we're here to essentially give you our review. And we decided to wait a whole week. I think we explained. We wanted to wait a whole week because we didn't want to rush out opinions, and it's a good thing we did because let's start off, gentlemen. What happened on that first day of Overwatch's release?
You should say what didn't happen on the first day of release.
You're right. What didn't happen?
Well, no one played the game, or at least a very small percentage of the player base got to play the game on day one. The servers were imploding.
Yeah, so in their... I'm only saying in their words because, some people were like suspicious that it just was that they didn't have enough servers, but the word was that on day one, the servers launched earlier than they were supposed to, and then they ended up getting a DDoS attack, which it means oh gosh, I had the definition up and I blanked on it, but a DDoS attack is basically when in terms of like a game, someone is like purposely attacking your servers. And DDoS itself stands for Distributed Denial of Service. So in this case, people were being denied access to the Overwatch 2 servers to play the game. And this resulted in probably the most known thing from the day one launch was there are 40,000 people ahead of you in queue, and then it would go up or down, and then you'd finally somehow miraculously get to 0 just to get an error and just to be told that you are now back in queue with 40,000 people ahead of you. It was probably one of the most chaotic game launches I've ever seen and been a part of.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen, like, this year we've had a lot of bad releases in terms of servers, but they were resolved a lot faster. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter not believing the whole DDoS story. But a streamer that I was watching, Seagull, he basically explained how there's no reason not to believe them, because everything was fine. According to him, everything worked really well in Overwatch 1. The servers were fine. And the release was kind of shaky, but it wasn't to the same degree as Overwatch 2. So, I don't know. I didn't play Overwatch 1, but there's no reason to not believe them, I guess, from my perspective, because seeing how other companies had issues but were able to resolve them a lot faster, something was definitely holding them up, and apparently it was the DDoS attacks, or 2 DDoS attacks.
I think they might have even gotten a third, but that was on the day after. They had 2 on day 1, and then they had another one, I think, the day after. So the moral of the story is that apparently Overwatch has beef with someone out there in the world that they're willing to DDoS their servers 3 separate times.
They have real haters.
Yeah, they got real haters out there.
On day 2, it was a lot. Is it fair to say that it was a lot better?
It got a lot better halfway through the day, I would say.
Yeah, because for PC players, it was pretty much in a way resolved. Because I got in early in the morning and I stayed on without a single problem all day.
Yeah. And later in the day, for the console players, it was you still had to wait, and it was maybe about an hour wait, but you at least were able to get in and play.
Yeah, and then by the third day, everything was fine.
Yeah, so to kind of explain to people, it's day 1, you couldn't get in at all, and if you got in, you were lucky, but then there was the chance that you'd get kicked from the game and boom, back to waiting in queue for however many hours. Day 2, it was still like that, but then they had all those, I think it was day 2, or it might have been day 3. I'm trying to remember my days, but there was a day where they kind of took it offline for a bit, for 2 separate times for maintenance, and by the time that was done and they came back from maintenance, boom, people were logging in instantly, and there was no more wait times in that. Yeah, by day 3 there was no more wait times. You were finally able to get in, and people were finally able to play. Dom, if I remember correctly, you downloaded, didn't you leave your thing on with the game, and then you came back and it still said you were still in queue?
Actually, I left it on, and my brother came in from school, and I told him to just keep an eye on the game. And I'm not sure how much was the player count at the time, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 30 to 40,000. So I was just waiting there, and I told my brother he could play Overwatch as soon as the count goes down, and hopefully it lets me into the game. However, I think it was around the 10,000 count where I think an hour has passed, and I got a message from my brother saying, "Oh no, you got pulled back into the queue because you got an error message midway through the queue." And I was like, "Okay, I don't think we're gonna be playing Overwatch at the time." However, I think for PC players, I think they got it the best because my brother said that he got on his PC put up Overwatch, and he immediately got into the game with no queue. So there was a bit of difference in terms of the queue lines on the different consoles and the PC.
I heard, or I saw on Twitter, and I heard people on Twitch talking about that when it was, I don't know, like realistic numbers, I guess, when it was like when you were 1,000 people behind in the queue, you were actually in the queue. But if it gave you like just a random number like 30k, 40k, you weren't actually in the queue. And there was a lot of the streamers were saying, if you've been in queue for like more than an hour and you're still at 40k, it's probably likely that you're not actually in the queue, and that you need to, like log out, log back in to see if you could get actually in the queue. Which I did that, but then I kept going from like 30k to 60k, and I was like, what is this going on here? They're trying to keep us from the servers, I guess.
Yeah, so it was pretty bad day one, and then to kind of further talk about just how like bad this launch was. The people who were finally able to get in either day one or even day two started noticing a big issue, and that was their accounts didn't merge or their stuff didn't transfer over to Overwatch 2. So a lot of people got into the game and boom, none of their cosmetics were there, such as skins and gold weapons and emotes and all that, For some people, it didn't recognize that they were an Overwatch 1 player, and so all the heroes were locked for them despite being an original player. A lot of people's account history didn't transfer over, so like how many hours they had played the game and played as certain heroes didn't transfer over. I'm trying to remember what else. I don't know, just a ton of people. There was like that was the issue. I know a couple. It happened to like one of my friends where it's like all his stuff transferred over, but it was still making him unlock characters because it for some reason wasn't recognizing that he was an Overwatch 1 player, despite all his skins and stuff transferring over. And that was something that definitely got a lot of people upset. Was the fact that like they thought their accounts were lost forever. And the one thing I'll say that like kind of ties into later in the review, but like I'll say right now, the one thing I'll at least appreciate is just kind of how vocal a lot of the devs and Overwatch was being. Now they weren't being really consistent with it, because it's kind of a meme to me, but like I don't think a lot of people saw, but they like I said, they weren't being consistent with it, because I think it was on day one or it was day two. All Overwatch did was put out a tweet saying like that they were like fixing the issues at hand, and then like 6 hours went by without any type of update, and the only update that there was them liking somebody's tweet that said, "Remember, a hero's greatest skill is patience," or something like that. And I was just like, can we get an update? Like I get it's funny because that's the whole thing about being patient, and a lot of people weren't. But like 6 hours went by and you couldn't give like a little update of what was going on, But they were still somewhat being like, again, it wasn't consistent, but they were being very forward with what was going on. They were very forward with telling people we might have to do maintenance, which means the game won't be able to be played from these hours to these hours. If the hours change, here they are. They were constantly letting people know, yes, this is an issue at hand that we're trying to fix. Don't worry, your accounts aren't lost forever and all that. So it was just something I was very appreciative of, especially a lot of the devs. A lot of the devs were probably getting a lot of interactions that day from people, and they were probably stressing out themselves over trying to get this game up and ready, and they were still finding time to like tell people and talk to people like, hey, this is the issue at hand, we're trying our best to fix it, here's what we're trying to do, yada yada yada, and it was something to just show some appreciation to, because it was definitely a very difficult time.
I saw some people yesterday on Twitter still talking about how they bought the starter pack, but they didn't receive any of the items. So it's kind of, I guess that's still an ongoing issue.
I heard about that too, which is why when I went to buy the battle pass, I waited till like. This is obviously not to say that these people are wrong for buying their stuff right away, but like I waited till the servers were fully stabilized. When there was no longer issues of me getting kicked out or the game crashing on me. That's when I bought it because I didn't want to take any risk of wasting my money just for me to not get the items and stuff. But so that was sort of day one of Overwatch 2 with all those issues. Another issue that's not necessarily a day one issue, but it's really looking to be a controversial issue is some people, and I'm included in this group, some people have seen certain skins that they've had for heroes completely disappear out of their locker. And not only their locker, but everyone. Like, it's not available. Like, when you go to the locker, it shows you what skins are available for purchase. And you see the skins, but yet some of them aren't there for anybody. Meaning they're, like, completely out of the game file. And a lot of people were confused. Me, I had the Poison Dart Lucio skin, and that was completely gone. When I loaded up Overwatch and I clicked on Lucio, and I saw he was in his regular skin, I was like, what the heck? Where's my skin? And when I went to look through my locker, it wasn't there, and I was so confused. And I looked it up on Twitter too, and people were like, yeah, we don't have this skin for Lucio, we don't have this one for, I think it was Zarya, and all these other people were like, where's this skin, where's this skin? And then finally, this is where the controversial part came in. Someone was like, I swear if this skin is gone from my locker room and it appears in the shop and I have to pay $20 to get back a skin that I already owned, that is not something that Overwatch should be allowed to get away with. And I agree. I think that's why a lot of people saw it as controversial, because no way should someone be allowed to do that, Imagine you earned the skin, you played the game, whatever, you bought the loot boxes to get it, and then boom, they just take it away, and then they re-release it, and they're like, oh yeah, you want it, pay $20 to get it back. I think that's kind of bogus in my opinion.
Yeah, because seeing how Overwatch 2 has been going so far, I feel like if those skins do return, they'll just return to the people that already had them, or else they might not return at all, because there's no way they're gonna force people to pay money for a thing that they already had. Like, the backlash is going to be insane.
Yeah, that's a PR that's a PR disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dom? Have you had any issues with like that stuff of transferring over skins? Any skins you had that aren't there? Oh wait, yeah. There was one.
There was one. I was looking through my skins earlier today, and I was trying to see if there were any skins that I was missing, and there was only the one that I am pretty sure I had ever since the skin was released, and it was just a reskin of like for May. It was just a Christmas skin. We just gave her like a Santa hat and made her attire like red and green, like in a bit of gold. And funny enough, I didn't know this skin was actually a legendary, considering it doesn't really hold the title of its appearance to be a legendary skin. However, aside from that, I know that I received that skin way back when it was released, and I'm pretty sure I had it, and now it's gone. So, considering its legendary worth, quote unquote worth, I feel like I might have been robbed of the skin, and unfortunate considering I still don't remember all of my skins exactly which I had. So there might be some skins I might have never knew I had, and maybe this whole time it was, I guess, taken away from me, which kind of sucks. But I mean, it is what it is. I just hope for everybody else their transformation of accounts did go thoroughly well. And but yeah, honestly, I don't know what else to do if you get a skin taken away from you. I'm not sure if Blizzard can manually give you skins. That I've never heard of.
They probably can, like if they recognize that certain stuff didn't transfer over to people, they can probably like put it on your account,
Yeah,
because that's what they would have to do for all these skins that are missing,
Yeah, but like as a problem as it is also a problem at scale too. Considering it's a lot of players transferring their accounts, and if you have customer service being bombarded with a bunch of like players saying, "Yo, I have this specific account that's missing this amount of skins for every single specific hero." It kind of makes things a little bit more daunting in terms of having to, I guess, reconcile everybody's accounts with each of their specific skins. Yeah. And you never know. Some might be lying saying, "Yo, I had, let's say, I don't know, the cruiser skin for Diva," but on Blizzard, and they might say, "Yo, you never got this skin before." But then the player might say, "Oh no, yeah, I have proof. And so it might go up. It might be a back and forth thing, which only holds up the line for every other player to get their skins back. And some players might not even know if they even got the skin in the first place, because considering there's a lot of skins, some people might just attend to just one skin that they might enjoy. But you wouldn't want to lose the rest of your options that you're given for any occasion you want to change a skin for a specific hero. So. I just hope it goes smooth.
I know they weren't expecting all these issues, but this is why they maybe should have kept Overwatch 1 servers up for like a week, but not like being able to play, but like just so that people could check their locker rooms and make sure that everything transferred over,
Yeah, I agree.
And I think there's either like two ways they can go about it. They can do it like individually and like find a way to get everybody's stuff back that's missing, or the more likely option, because it's easier to do on, as you said, on a larger scale, is for them to probably just compensate everyone by giving them a certain amount of like Overwatch coins, Like that seems like the more likely option. Like, hey, to compensate for everyone who's been having issues, here is like I don't know. It would be a lot for them to give away, because it means like less money for like people spending. But like, I don't know, maybe like here's $20, anywhere between like $20 and $50 worth of Overwatch coins to compensate for all the skins that people have been losing, Yeah. And though it won't be proper compensation if someone doesn't have any of the legendary skins that they had, it's like that's probably the likely way they'll go, because it's something they can do on a large scale,
Yeah.
But using this as a perfect transition, obviously we still want to get into the gameplay. We have about 20 more minutes left, but this is another big thing that has to come up with Overwatch 2 discussion. So, a lot of people online have been having a lot of complaints lately, as we've seen. And a lot of it's to be expected, because there is things to, complain about. But I think the biggest thing that's kind of been annoying me personally, and I don't know how you guys feel, but a lot of people have been complaining about a lot of the things in Overwatch 2, essentially for the sake of nostalgia. Like, you've seen them being like, oh, Overwatch 1 did this better. Oh, the Overwatch 1 had this and this and this. Overwatch 2 is terrible because it doesn't have it. And it's like, a lot of it just kind of angers me and confuses me, because these same people were the ones that were asking for this stuff in Overwatch 2,
Yeah.
Like, so many people during Overwatch 1's days were saying this 2-tank system is going to be the reason the game dies, because it's just too difficult to have to deal with this many shields. There's too many shields in the game. There's too much stuns in the game, whether it was McCree's flashbang, Mei being able to freeze you, Brigida's shield bash. I'm trying to think of some other stuns in the game. But stuff like that, they were complaining about, saying they needed to get reworked or removed. so many people were trying to tell Overwatch just go free to play already after 3 years, you know, and then but then it's like, oh, and then another thing, get rid of the loot boxes. We hate having to gamble on the fact that we have, like, you know, we hate that we have to gamble by spending money on your loot boxes just for the chance to get the skin, not even a guarantee, you know. Because it was like, what, you'd have to spend $100 plus maybe worth on loot boxes just to try and get everything from the newest event, you know. But yet, you know, like, that was a big complaint, and yet here we are in Overwatch 2. It's free to play now. They've implemented a shop like Apex and Valorant where you can buy the skins you want instead of having to gamble for them in loot boxes. It's only one tank now. They've removed all the stuns, and yet people are complaining about these things, specifically the loot boxes. I saw so many people, again, because of nostalgia, they're posting, you know, the special themed loot boxes. You remember where for Christmas the loot box looked like a present, for Halloween it was a jack-o'-lantern and stuff like that. People were posting these and were being like, oh, we're never gonna get to see this again. Overwatch 2 messed up by not keeping the loot box system. And it's like, this is something people were literally asking for them to move away from, but yet for the sake of nostalgia and all that, you know, they're like, oh no, we want this back, you know.
True.
And it's just something that's really annoyed me. Like, I don't know, what do you guys prefer? I know obviously Gio's a newer fan, but what do you guys prefer? A loot box system where you have to gamble and not even have a guarantee of getting what you want, or just being able to just be like, here's my $20, let me just get this skin that I really want, you know, like how Fortnite does it, how Apex does it, where, you know, it's literally just a shop, you see a skin, you're like, there, pay the money for it, you know.
I definitely prefer the latter, because, I don't know, in Apex I haven't spent a lot of money on Apex, just a few hundreds maybe, and it's really annoying when I buy like 10 packs and don't get anything worth my while or worth my money. I feel like this is kind of like a tangent, I guess, but when they have like a system like that, basically if you buy the 10 pack, you should have a guarantee of a legendary, or at least like 3 legendaries, because 10 packs, that's a lot of money. You should at least get something for it. It shouldn't be like a complete gamble. It shouldn't be like, oh, you might get 10 packs of just 3 gray emblems. It's like, what's the point of that?
Yeah, Dom knows more than anybody. Dom, you know, what was always the meme in Overwatch 1 when it came to loot boxes? 3 grays and a blue. That was all you would get from almost every loot box.
And it was always the worst. It was either just a spray paint, a voice line, or just, it was not worth it.
Yeah. That was what the loot box system was. But again, people are being blinded by the nostalgia. I can look past the nostalgia and say the loot box system was terrible. Because how many times did an event come out where we wanted a skin, we didn't get it, and we had to wait till either a whole year for that event to come back or the anniversary event. And even then, when the anniversary event came around, since it was that year, it still costed 3,000 coins. And there's no other way to get coins than the loot box, you know, than through loot boxes.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just my tangent, man. It's like I'm really annoyed with people.
I feel like $20 for a skin is a little bit much.
Yeah, it definitely is. I will agree with that. They should have kept it within like the 10-15 price range, maybe.
Yeah, like $10 I feel is a reasonable price. Because people could be like, oh, $10 I could buy the battle pass, or I could just buy the skin.
Yeah.
So there's that. Then you have options with that money. Not, I have $20. I'm just gonna use on this skin for this character that I might not play all the time.
And
or you can't even see the skin. So like, what's the point of having it?
True. But 15 minutes remaining. Let's transition finally into the final part of this review, the gameplay itself. Gentlemen, how have you guys been enjoying the gameplay of Overwatch 2? First off, let's start with Gio, because Gio's new to the whole Overwatch game and as a whole. So Gio, what were your thoughts on gameplay wise?
I'm new to actually playing the game, but I've seen a lot of gameplay, and it felt It felt like it depends, because if you have a bad team, you just get run over, and then that's it, back to the lobby. But that's pretty much any game. But when you have like an actual good team, like people who are actually trying, even if it's quick play, quick play champions, it's literally like the most fun I've had, because when you play tank and you're just shooting people over and over again, and somehow you're just not dying because your healers are insane. It's like you're going on a rampage, and it's so much fun.
Shout out my support mains.
But then you get healers like Dominic who get less than a K in heals.
Yeah.
Actually, statistically, I did do pretty well. I remember I got 3K that one time, so that is a lie. Let's just get that out of the way.
But where is the 10K healing? Never mind. That's for support mains. I won't judge you on that grand of a scale.
On my second game as support, I got, I think, 11K on, what's her name, Brigida. I went insane that match. But ever since then, I've gotten less than like 4K. Dude, playing support is actually a challenge.
Yeah, especially this game where you have one less tank to hide behind. It is definitely a big old challenge, because you really have to be shifty, which is why Lucio's kind of in the meta right now, because you really have to be shifty on avoiding not only people's shots, but when it comes to the other team's tanks, when you have a Roadhog who can hook Junker Queen or Orisa with her javelin, or as I know all too well from this past week of playing Overwatch 2, a Reinhardt who just charges in and pins you down. There was a game I got pinned 4 times in a row and then got hooked by a Roadhog the 5th time when the guy changed to Roadhog. It's not been an easy game as a healer.
Dude, I was playing Reinhardt for one match, and I guess I was pissing off the other tank because he switched to Reinhardt, and I just seen in the chat, Reinhardt 1v1. I was like, what do you mean? We're in the middle of a match.
Oh my gosh. I still remember, this is just to show the amount of fun moments we had. Dom was playing Reinhardt, and I guess we were doing good, and the other team switched to a Reinhardt, and Dom goes, oh, look, he's switching to Reinhardt because he's bad, and we're winning. And then we ended up losing the game, and all we just remembered was Dom dying over and over to that same Reinhardt.
It was not a good...
Shout out Dominic for going AFK to do his homework.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Dude, Dom, my dad was in complete disbelief when he heard about that you were trying to play Overwatch and do homework at the same time.
I managed to finish the homework, so that was good.
Man, you should have been focused on the homework. Education comes first. The grind comes second.
That's true.
But that session in general was very fun. Overwatch is a really fun game when you play with your homies. Yeah. Playing by yourself is kind of... it's not the best, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is we have a friend. What's his name? Puppet. And I don't know, he's very picky about the games that he plays. And he's been enjoying Overwatch 2 a lot.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see.
He's been bringing that Valorant toxicity to the game. Oh man, that session was so funny. He started trash talking the enemy team, and they were just like, oh, you're getting carried by your other damage and all that, and he was like, okay, and so what, we're still winning. Oh man. But Dom,
yes,
how about you? Overwatch 1 player to Overwatch 1 player.
So I didn't enjoy much of the differences. A lot I didn't really enjoy. For example, with Orisa, her complete change with the javelin and the fact that she loses her shield, and the fact that her gun now overheats. It's I don't know. I don't enjoy it. There's some other things about the game in general that I don't enjoy. I kind of like the level aspect where you level up, and each level you gain, it's another loot box, and so that was that. But I also don't enjoy how they remove the on fire thing when you're on it. Basically, what on fire is that when you're in the game and you're on a kill streak, right? You're constantly getting kills without dying in that same life. you go on fire, and where I guess for you as a player, you go on, I guess, on a you notice that you're doing well, and you're popping off per se. And I feel like, to me, I absolutely love that feature back in Overwatch 1, because it feels like you're getting that sort of adrenaline rush, and that I guess that mental burden that if you die, you're gonna lose your whole killing streak. So I'm kind of sad that they took that off. The same thing with Orisa. I don't enjoy the changes that were made. The thing with Mei, as her ability allows her weapon, her main gun, her main weapon, to like freeze people with the use of her gun, that was taken away. So that's, some people might enjoy that, some people might not, because some mains probably particularly enjoyed freezing people so as to like slow down the enemy side, which was pretty useful, especially when it comes to like some the opposing team might be able to like ult, and Mei is able to like freeze or just throw up or the freeze wall or whatever it is. What else? But overall, I'm starting to particularly enjoy the game overall. I'm starting to adapt as to how the game is working along. I feel like there could be some bug fixes, but I feel like there's some things that should just be reverted back to how some the things Overwatch 1 had implemented before. What else? The gameplay aspect is now more rapid fire, so now things go even more faster than before. I feel like it's like playing like Mayhem, but just casual Mayhem, if that makes sense. In other words, I feel like the game is now more fluid. It's now more clean. I mean, that's just me playing from a PC aspect, but overall, the game feels more fun to play.
How
I
do
feel
you guys feel? I'm sorry, continue. Finish.
No, I just wanted to say just one more thing, that I still feel like something should be coming back. I feel like the level system should be coming back, but it might, maybe later on. But I have a bad feeling it won't. But aside from that, I feel like we could definitely put in a lot more time into this.
I was gonna ask, how do you guys feel about Bastion having his Overwatch 1 ult as like his utility now? Because I feel like it's a little, it might be a little too much.
I definitely feel that, but I think like the way they counterbalance it is that he can't stay in it forever. It is on a time base, but and it requires the players now to have to be more skilled with just a regular gun. And honestly, in all honesty, I think I appreciate the rework solely because less people are picking the character now. And I know that sounds petty and stuff, but in Overwatch 1, Bastion was really a pain to deal with, especially with that 2-tank system, because he could just hide behind, a duo of Reinhardt and Orisa. And Orisa's shields were constantly regenning like nothing, because it took, for some people, it took them forever to just, actually get that shield down. And so it's like he could just hide behind there obviously he couldn't move around like how he can now, like as his ultimate was, but like he'd just sit there forever, and with this rework, because a lot of those players never really were used to playing Bastion, like how he's in a sense meant to be played, where he only has that one gun on his arm as a utility, and then he has that ultimate form like from like I think it's like, what is it, like a 10-second cooldown that he has in between uses or something like that. It like, I don't know, it makes people have to actually, in a sense, be skilled at aiming to play Bastion. Obviously you needed skill to play him when you were in turret mode in Overwatch 1. I'm not saying you didn't, but like now with all the movement that's required, it's not just Bastion sit there stationary in a corner shooting anyone that comes into your line of sight. It's like there's more required from Bastion now, and it's kind of forced a lot of those people who would just abuse the Bastion and the turret form to like either learn how to play him how the game needs him to be played in Overwatch 2 because of how things have changed, or to just start learning other heroes, you know?
In my experience, let's say like we were having like a tough game, and I don't know, one of my teammates switched to Bastion. I felt like his presence really turned the tide because of just that, like, instant damage, like intense damage output. So like he turned into the thing, so much damage that you could, like, your output is insane, and then you just go back to your regular thing. And I feel like it's a good. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't like his new ult because it's kind of. I don't know. It's like a lot easier to like avoid.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
So I feel like if you just change that a little bit, Bastion is like one of like the top damages. Also, Reaper. Reaper's insane.
Yeah, Reaper's always been a pretty top pick. And real quickly, with about 3 minutes 40 remaining, I just want to say, as an Overwatch 1 player, I think I appreciate these changes a lot more. 5v5 really picked up the pace of the game. Things move so much faster. You're really having to be strategic because if one of your teammates dies, that can shift the whole tide of battle, Like, we've seen it where getting just 1 or 2 people killed shifts the whole thing because now it's a 5v3, a 4v3, whatever it may be, Ultimates, obviously, before in Overwatch 1 were a big thing too that could change the tide, but like in this game, they truly feel like they can shift the tide, where like you really have to, as support heroes, you really have to be really conserving and be really skillful when you use your ult to protect your team, because you got to be mindful of, okay, this person's been doing this much damage for this time. They may have their ult now. I got to be ready to use it. And you really got to listen for audio cues. But the one issue being right now is that they have audio mixture on the level, or not on the levels, because no one's ever going to be on the level of how terrible Apex audio is. But like, it's somewhat like that, where there's just so much happening that you really can't tell like where stuff is happening from. But 5v5 with 1 tank, I definitely say is an improvement, because playing Overwatch 1, especially in its final days with that 2 tank system, was probably the reason why so many people left that game, because it was just too frustrating to sit behind that all, And
having that only 1 tank it gives that tank a lot more value, because as soon as the tank is down, everybody else just gets wiped.
Yeah, they really, like, that is a key vital role now, And I guess my final statement would be that I just think I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't care if it's a hot take. I don't care what people who main her think. I will always have this opinion. I've had this opinion since Overwatch 1, since the beginning of Overwatch 1. I don't think Symmetra should even be in this game. I'll give Torbjorn a pass, because even now in Overwatch 2, his turret's kind of useless. Or not useless, but it feels easier to counter him. I swear, anytime someone goes Symmetra, it's just because they want the easy win. And also because since I can't like just switch roles in game, it's like if someone's not playing Winston to counter her, it's like it's so annoying to deal with her. And it's not even a thing of just get good. It's like, dude, so many times I've lost games just because they switched to a Symmetra and like there's really nothing you can do against a Symmetra. Obviously, it's not as bad as when she used to have 6 turrets, but it's still pretty bad. I wish she wasn't in the game. But with 45 seconds remaining, and after a week of playing, right now, what would be your rating of Overwatch 2?
Oof. Damn.
I say the base game, I'd give it a 8. Because I still need to explore like the competitive side. So for now, an 8.
Dom, 20 seconds.
I'm thinking of either 7.5 or at an 8, because I feel like there's a lot of changes that need to go back to and revert back to Overwatch. But I enjoyed what it was. I think I'm still enjoying what it is. I'm gonna give it an 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. And thank you all for joining for this episode.